with the Chicago Fire. The Fire winning that one 3-2. But here, a couple of hours east of L.A., the Galaxy had an enormous amount of supporters. LAFC, indeed, they've got a good crew out too. And I imagine they're wondering if and when they'll see Son. We don't know. Other question mark for New York City. They will close this Invitational on February the 14th against San Jose, and you wonder if Timo Werner will make an appearance in that one. Nothing to report on that. That's Hollingshead on his derriere, looking towards the referee. Hassal, the keeper, and you certainly see the LAFC effort to build from the back, utilizing the keeper, number one keeper, Hugo Lloris, at 39 years of age. With the CONCACAF Champions Cup upcoming in Honduras for LAFC. And then they open against Inter Miami, the MLS regular season opener. Here's Gray. Without an assist in 2025, following a year when he had 7. But when you talk about pre-assists, Gray involved in a lot of the positive attack for New York City. Here's Wolf. And the midfielder, Kevin O'Toole. So O'Toole has played left back, left wing, and in the midfield. Those are the 3 areas that he's played under Pascal Janssen. And that match against Philadelphia in the Eastern Conference semifinals I alluded to earlier, O'Toole was a key figure in the midfield because Aiden O'Neill, the regular, had accumulated 3 yellow cards in the Charlotte series, so he had to serve a single-game suspension for yellow card accumulation. Here's Wolf with a right-footed shot, the diving save, Hassal, and New York City now with the 2 best opportunities here early on. Cavallo. Nico Cavallo found himself in 12 matches last year, a couple of starts. Graduate student at UCLA. Guy from Virginia. Natural left foot, and is growing under the tutelage of Pascal Janssen and his coaching team. How's that from Maxi Morales? Gentle touch from Maxi. His assist total, he's second in assists in MLS on the active side with 85. He's tied for 17th all time, tied for second for most in a single season. That was in 2019 when New York City won the Eastern Conference Championship. He's been a massive figure with the club, and one of his best years was at the age of 38 last season for New York City, helping them to the Eastern Conference Final. Corner ball from Maxi. Gustavo lays it back to Martins, and the harmless header that Hassal will gather in. Thiago Martins had 14 headed balls on goal off of set-piece situations last year, was unable to score. His single career goal was actually with the right foot in front of goal, just hammering it home. But Thiago's in the right place at the right time, but the ability to score off of these set pieces, which is so critical to outcomes and points, has been failing to the point of he knows that one is coming. That's O'Toole's showing in the midfield, giving chase up top. Ionero, he's a 17-year-old there, the number 47. And Thiago Martins, he certainly had some options there. Got the ball forward. Hollingshead doing his best with the left foot to push it away. And chasing Fernandez Murkow. And then from behind, Murkow takes Hollingshead down. And Ryan Hollingshead, a great story. Back where he belongs, you would think. A Sacramento, California native. Played at UCLA, but he spent a number of years at FC Dallas before coming to LAFC in 2022. And winning an MLS Cup in that very first season. Ball played high into the air by Guerra. He's an 18-year-old. So youth will be served today for Mark Dos Santos and LAFC. So it's up top, it's 23 years old, 17 and 22. In the midfield, 18, 22, and 19. At the back, 22, 21, 23. And Hollingshead, he's the elder statesman at 34. Hassal in goal is 26 years old. And New York City with a free kick. And Maxi Morales, from this spot on the field, this angle, using his right, Maxi is very effective at delivery here. Now, a left can sometimes, that is the left-footed Fernandez Murkow, sometimes that can be the choice here because it allows the keeper to have to come up with a choice if that ball's whipped in just right. But LAFC is dropping back deep into their area. I would expect Maxi on this. Here it comes. And a redirected header to the back post by Guerra. And it's Wolf in New York City back on it. That curling ball falls short of Ojeda. And cleared first time by Della Valle, the 21-year-old. Native of Italy, Juventus Academy. Here's Kevin O'Toole. Martins, the captain. The 30-year-old, and you would suspect that he and Raul Gustavo will spend a lot of time together at the back, although New York City does have an incoming, and not sure of his status in regard to Coachella, so don't really have an update. But Kai Trewin, the Australian, teammates with Aiden O'Neill on the Australian national team. Aiden O'Neill in his civvies today. No update as to why he's not in the squad. But Trewin, he is the as close to a like-for-like replacement for Justin Hack. Hack departing for the LA Galaxy. His contract expired. He signed with a new club. That's Martins, heavily on the back of Ionero, the striker. And sometimes that's just a statement moment. The 17-year-old, part of the conversation with Mark Dos Santos last night, he said the biggest thing for younger players coming into their first team, and he said it's something that's developed over time, is the intensity now in the modern game, both physically and then the mentality. And he said players, number one, when they come into it and get to the first team at his age, that's where it's difficult. That's Ojeda trying to bend it behind the D and in front of the keeper, and falls short of the mark as he had Wolf and also Fernandez Murkow close to the spot. But certainly an interesting note that it's you want to replicate it at the academy level, but sometimes that's a more difficult than it might seem because you're dealing with different physicalities. But the running of the game, you mentioned that mostly. It's just such a hard running, hard match. Fernandez Murkow offside from Gray. 26-year-old from Buenos Aires, Fernandez Murkow. first brace he had for the club, and it was the first playoff brace in club history. And the second of those goals in the 10th minute of stoppage time to clinch it at Charlotte in Game 3. A game he had 8 recoveries. He's such a hard worker, and that's the thing we note. Matty Lawrence, my broadcast partner on the radio side for New York City FC, he mentioned that early on. The work rate off the ball by Fernandez Murkow, the designated player picked up last summer by New York City FC. Wonderful to see Keaton Parks back on the pitch again. And it was right here at Coachella last year where his minutes were limited, and I remember seeing him after the third and final game, and the team was walking to the bus to head to the airport to get back home, and just asking him how it's going, because he had I had broadcast that last game, and he had come out early. The foot was bothering him throughout the season. He made it through 14 games, really fought through it, and then the decision to shut him down and have a third surgery on the right leg. All of a really serious nature. If you look at the whole history of Parks, that's Hollingshead who's able to intercept. The surgeries were November of 21, June of 22, and last July of 25. All regarding blood clots or blood flow. O'Toole anticipates, intercepts, and puts on the brakes. There's Parks and Morales. New York City loses such a technical player when Parks is out. He can move the ball in a number of ways, can get out of jams, and that's one thing that's very clear. His technical ability in a crowd sets him apart. New York City really less ball dominant without Parks, and I'm sure that's what Pascal Janssen is hopeful that Parks will bring New York City to a new level, a better level of possession with a purpose. Gray to Martins, Iannero chasing, and now Ordaz. Ordaz had a wonderful rookie season at 22 years of age. The El Salvador international, we'll get to him in a moment, as there's Fernandez Murkow. And now Parks with the seam ball to find Ojeda, and sliding tackle by Smolyakov. And that really saved LAFC from Ojeda walking in on goal. Add one more thing to the level of Keaton Parks for New York City FC, threading the pass. New York City will have the corner ball, and Fernandez Murkow will often take it from this side. He's walking slowly there. Temperature in the low 80s, and considering what's happening back east, especially in the New York metropolitan area, I will refrain from referring to the weather too often here. I hear it's pretty cold. I saw 40 below wind chill somewhere in Jersey. I hope that was a misprint. In that scrum inside the 6, Martins, he pulls away, goes to the front post. Here's the delivery, punched away, and getting the shot and pulling it wide. It's deflected anyway. Kevin O'Toole. Maxi Morales back on it, drives it towards the near post, palmed away by Hassal. And New York City continues to put the pressure on, but without a tally. In addition to Alonso Martinez out for a significant period of time due to the ACL injury suffered on international duty on artificial turf in Curacao. That's the really unfortunate part. But Andres Pereira, remember he suffered that very serious leg injury against Charlotte in the playoffs. After surgery, it was deemed that maybe not quite as serious as initially thought, but he is not on the preseason roster. So it's still some time for him. Malachi Jones is a little further away than Andres Pereira getting back. gone from the squad. New York City, Julian Fernandez has departed. Micha Ilinic, and we talked about Justin Hack. Well, Matt Freese in his orange keeper kit. See him on the right side of your shot. Now he's out of the picture. He hasn't been in the picture very often because most of the play has been in the LAFC end. And certainly a good part of that is how Mark Dos Santos elected to go personnel-wise today. Fernandez Mercado forced away from his own goal. Now there is a player down, and the referee, with the shrill of the whistle, will check on Tommy Mihalic, the 23-year-old who played at the Indiana University, where he was the big offensive player of the year and getting his chance here. So LAFC, with the CONCACAF Champions Cup ahead, they have scheduled a scrimmage against Tijuana Cholos on Tuesday. So strict periodization, taking care of the bodies first, and on Tuesday, that's where Dos Santos will stretch the regulars, the normal starters, to get them minutes to more prepare for the beginning of the competitive season. Nice entrance from Gray to Fernandez Mercado. Now Wolf, that angled run to receive, but the cutback deflected. And New York City again foiled as they get close to goal. This is Pascal Janssen's second trip to the Coachella Invitational. He had not been around very long after being named the new coach, replacing Nick Cushing back last year. Here's a strong shot from Fernandez Mercado from the outside. And on the short hop, Sal palms it away and is able to pounce on it. And Parks was there, but Sal does well to keep it 0-0. So really the comfort level, Janssen, the understanding of those who are returning in particular, which is a majority of the roster, on how he wants to go about things. And it's certainly been, in that manner, a more productive preseason. Each coach has their own method for how they operate here at the Invitational. Normally it's maybe 60 minutes here. Those that, with the GPS and the heart rate and every other analytic that they use, if they can push somebody a little deeper, they will. And then game 2 against Sporting KC on Wednesday. Probably a few more minutes for the regulars. And then that final game against San Jose on February 14th, that sometimes gets flipped. Maybe the regulars will go as close to 90 as possible, or you're setting yourself up for the following weekend, the opener, when New York City is remaining here on the West Coast because their first game is the LA Galaxy. And after this foul, LAFC, this will really be the first time that Matt Freese has had to think about organizing the defense ahead of him with a potential goal-scoring opportunity. Smoldiakov, who scored an absolute golazo last year, played in 8 games, had a goal. And that's a nice one to Hollingshead, set piece well done. Hollingshead just trying to head it across the face of goal, but too close to Freese. And off the quick outlet, Fernandez Mercado finds Ojeda, and then he's on the run. So a distance give and go. And now trying to return the favor, Mercado, and intercepted, and LAFC with it back. Smoldiakov, on March the 29th at San Diego, LAFC was trailing 3-0. He's a left footer, natural left footer, and he struck a shot in the run of play from about 30 yards, just underneath the crossbar, down into the back of the net, and it was just skimmed that crossbar. It was just one of those distance shots and goals that well, we'll run in the highlights forever. That's one to look for if you haven't seen it on the highlights. 26 games, 13 starts. For Smolyakov to be more exacting in 25. He's on the left side of the back. That's Hassal into the midfielder Evans, 19 years old, Guatemalan American. Plano, Texas, Keaton Parks. Had a chance to work with the FC Dallas Academy for golf. He just took that opportunity elsewhere, including Benfica, where he played with a reserve side, and then came to New York City in 2019. On the wing, Ojeda. As the season progressed last year, he became more and more confident in 1-versus-1 situations. One of the fastest players in the league. Pascal Janssen and the coaching team urging him to, at times, if there's enough space, just push the ball past the player, run onto the other side. And he began to do that in the latter stages of the year and was earning time on a regular basis as a starter ahead of Julian Fernandez and at times Hannes Wolf. New York City very patient against the low-lying LAFC. Gustavo, nice range on the pass, but on the skip, Maxi Morales, he was hoping it would skip past the defender and maybe he could do something with it. One of Maxi's shining moments in 2025 was that playoff goal against Philadelphia. Just a wonderful combination near the top of the area with Fernandez, Murkow, and Maxi slotting it past Andre Blake in New York City, upsetting Philadelphia, the Supporter Shield winners in the Eastern Conference semis. Ojeda, no goals, 5 assists in the regular season. His one and only goal in a New York City FC uniform against Lyon in the Leagues Cup. O'Toole deceived Hannes Wolf on that, his teammate. It looked like he might go wide to Cavallo, but instead trying to find Wolf, and that's what has led to this break by LAFC. With a combination of Gustavo and Martins are able to halt Nathan Ordaz, who had 5 goals and 5 assists last year for LAFC. Exciting young winger from Encino, California. The massive turnout for this game. Normally the crowds are somewhat sparse, but when it's LAFC or the LA Galaxy, the supporters come out and force Maxi down, and it's taking some time here. And all the signs of a right ankle turn or sprain and a hydration break here at the Coachella Valley Invitational. There are 12 MLS teams competing here. RSL is also here, but they're not part of the Invitational. They're going to play a friendly with the LA Galaxy later this week. Earlier, the Galaxy lost to the Chicago Fire 3-2. Just 2 games today as, well, there are no games after this one because I think that even the soccer players want to get a glimpse at the Super Bowl today. So that's coming up a little bit later on. Match day 3 here at the Coachella Valley Invitational 2026 will be Wednesday, February the 11th. There'll be 5 games starting at 10 a.m. and finishing up with a kickoff at 3 p.m. I'll be on the air with Sporting KC against New York City FC at 1:30 Pacific, which is 4:30 Eastern time. And then the Invitational wraps up on February the 14th. That's next Saturday. Games beginning at 10 and then completing at 1 p.m. when New York City plays host to the San Jose Earthquakes. And for any Charlotte FC or Minnesota United supporters that might be listening to their match at 10 a.m. on February 14th, I'll be happy to call that one as well. Wonderful conversations last night with Mark Dos Santos, the new head coach for LAFC, and also Mark Delgado. Mark Delgado is such an interesting study. He is, and I even asked him in the interview, which will air on SiriusXM FC during our MLS previews. Mark Dos Santos will be on my show, The Coaching Academy, coming up on Tuesday. If you're a SiriusXM subscriber, that's channel 157. I'll have Mark Dos Santos on, and also the new head coach for St. Louis City SC, Yohan Damet. And they're going to be very, very different to look at this year. St. Louis under Damet, who has worked under Wilfred Nancy as an assistant at Columbus. But Delgado, he is that underappreciated guy. When I asked him about that, he says, yeah, my teammates always say, you should be more noted. People should recognize your ability. And he said he doesn't really mind, nor does he care. He just likes to win, and it's no coincidence that he's won a pair of MLS Cups with 2 different teams. And the teams that he plays on, they normally win. Whether we see Mark Delgado today or not, the regulars will likely, any of the regulars or the normal starters will likely only see them the last 20, 25, 30 minutes of this scrimmage here today. New York City, meanwhile, they are going with what might look very much like the starting group on opening day against the LA Galaxy on the weekend of February 21-22. Certainly the one thing to identify, Kevin O'Toole in the midfield, Aiden O'Neill not in the squad today. O'Neill would be certainly a normal starter, as he was especially through the playoffs. Played every minute of all 3 games against Charlotte in that opening round series, won by New York City FC, but he missed the Philadelphia game with yellow card accumulation. Maxi with the set piece. He was fouled, and it's Gustavo at the back post, high into the air. Now the challenge has solved. The referee says foul on the keeper, and Gustavo the culprit. Tough one for him to get on top of, and maybe fell a little awkwardly. See, he held his head there for a moment, and a bit of an abnormal gait as he recovers back to the halfway line. Still no score, and we're about 10 minutes from the interval. On field 2 at the Coachella Valley Invitational. It's the favored field, I'm sure, of those who are producing the broadcast and certainly the commentators. We are high above in the bleachers. It's really wonderful, and it's such a beautiful day with the mountains in the background. The setting is immaculate, but the sun is at our back also. And that's nice. Into the channel, out of the back. Martins, and here's Freeze. One of his rare touches in the opening half. Gray trying to work a quick combo with Keaton Parks. Parks, though, was covered heavily, and that's where Gray needs to overhit that pass. That has to be a bullet on the ground. Parks can handle it. And in those tight areas when you're trying to solve pressure at the back, the pace of the pass so often is what will enable you to solve it and get to the next line. And here's O'Toole showing nicely in the gap. A bit awkward to Parks, and with the left foot he gets it forward inadvertently. Cavallo trying to push it forward, instead pushes it out. Ryan Hollingshead, the 34-year-old. Everybody else a youngster out there, with the exception of Hollingshead. Right now, hands on knees, so 36 minutes plus in, and the conditions are very hot here. The sun is shining brightly, as you can tell, and Hollingshead trying to gather himself, and as is his wont from the fullback position on the right, he's in the area right now, and let's see if LAFC can make something out of this. Their first foray into the final third under control. Still have it. Curler to the back post, and Ordaz can't quite get it on target. And applause from the LAFC supporters. Getting another look at the curling ball to the back. And you see Ordaz, he had to backpedal on it and just couldn't get high enough. At about 5'10", he needed an inch or two more to get himself on top of the ball. Best chance of the half for LAFC. Now, we do know there are at least 2 New York City FC supporters. Get to that in a moment. Gustavo to Parks. Mac Learned is a 23-year-old, played at Sacramento State and last year for NYCFC 2. His parents, Jeff and Karen, met them at the gate, and they are here, actually sitting right in front of me for this one, as New York City trying to solve things in the final third. Maxi Morales, one of those guys who can pry things loose, and Gray's service hangs in the air. That's easy for the keeper, Hassal. And early on, let's see if he can get it to Ordaz. Thiago Martins with the acceleration. His pace so often makes up for any gap in maybe how he's positioned, as New York City had a high line there, and Hassal, he noted it early, and that was a good ball from him, but Martins was able to gobble up the space and win it back for New York City FC. And I think the one thing that the Mac Learned's parents said that was quite thoughtful and certainly meaningful is how welcomed their son felt with the club here in preseason. He was just almost surprised how easy it was to assimilate, and kind of team that Pascal Janssen has formed, along with now a new sporting director, Todd Donovan. David Lee, he is at Sporting KC, ran into him earlier. He has pretty much put together his staff, a good one. Dom Kinnear, he's a familiar name. He's an assistant to Rafael Vicky. Nice driving ball from Gustavo to Vino Heda, now Morales. About 5 minutes remaining before we get to halftime. There's Gray. Morales. New York City moving the ball, and in the meantime, ball movement means a little bit more chasing for LAFC in these hot conditions, and that's sometimes where you can find an opening as you swing right to left. Here's Hannes Wolf, a nice 1-2 with Cavallo, who keeps his balance to get it in close to goal, and a wonderful defensive effort. And that was Matt Evans dropping in from his holding midfield position. The sliding tackle on Cavallo, risky, got a piece of it, and that took off any sort of velocity on that shot by Cavallo, and Hassal, no problem. Nice little clever cutback by Morales, then he's fouled. What else about Maxi? Told you he's going to turn 39 soon, end of the month. Puts it in quickly, so I'll have to save some of this. 1 goal, 2 assists in the playoffs last year. That 1 goal we talked about against Philadelphia. After not having a single goal contribution in the 2024 playoffs, when New York City was eliminated by the New York Red Bulls in the Eastern Conference semis. Here's Martins. Morales in one to Fernandez Mercado, and Hannes Wolf had darted in from the left side inside. Fernandez Mercado was hoping that maybe he had held his spot, And O'Toole was there as well, kind of anticipating, but defended once again by LAFC. That young core at the back, including that young man, Guerra, getting it done. This is Ordaz. From his right wing position, he went inverted to receive that and stays on the left side of the pitch as this thing builds. And there he is, Ordaz. One-on-one with Martins. The cutback. Parks is there. Finds Martins, who he was facing. That was a difficult ball to play, and off the deflection. Picked up on one hop by Freeze. Matt Freeze. You would have to think the #1 goalkeeper for the U.S. men's national team. 12 straight starts with the U.S. men over time. And the upcoming March friendlies against Belgium and Portugal, 2 of the final 4 preparation matches for this summer. Germany and Senegal will then be the matchups late May, leading into June, and then June 11th is opening day for the World Cup. Wondering who got their tickets. I've been at some events recently and haven't met anybody that got tickets. For 2 reasons. One, they didn't qualify, maybe got in on a lottery too late, or weren't selected, and affordability was a factor in some of the other cases of folks I've been able to chat with about that. Asal lofts it high into the air. Parks looked like he was going to get underneath it, but instead he allowed Ionero, the 17-year-old striker, to come back and get the chest on it. And that allows LAFC to have some control. Here's a shot forcing a save by Freeze. A little bit unexpected perhaps from Matty Evans, and Freeze. He didn't have to dive, but sort of a semi-leap to his right and just palmed it away. Couldn't attempt to catch that one. And here comes a corner kick, the first of the game for LAFC. I think that might have been a bit shocking for all comers. No one stepped to Evans, #1, to deny the shot. And then Freeze, reflex action. Curling ball falls short of the mark here off the corner. And little indecision in the area. The corner will be retaken. Apparently it went out again off of Parks. How well struck was that by Matt Evans? That's one of those knuckle balls. No spin. Tough for the keeper. Hernandez Murkow denying that by Smoldyakov. He was looking for something early, and that's where pressure by the front runner can make a difference. And this is partly responsible where Maxi Morales, that one knocked away. But Fernandez Murkow, the effort to get a deflection on that early on, it kept it in the LAFC end. And then Morales, he was trying to find Fernandez Murkow off the cutback. There's Matt Evans. That was right to Tavon Gray. Easiest interception Gray will ever have, but part of it is positioning. He was tucked in nicely. And here's a 2v1 here on the near side. It's Hannes Wolf and Fernandez Murkow. And recovering well, though, was Della Valle to make it 2 versus 2. He sweeps it out, but it will be a throw-in for New York City, not a corner. We are into stoppage time, 90 seconds in. O'Toole. And there's the halftime whistle. So chances on both sides, in particular LAFC late on the Matt Evans strike that forced the save, and the only save of the half for Matty Freeze. And New York City and LAFC are 0-0 at the interval. We'll take a timeout and we'll be back with you for the second half of play at the Coachella Valley Invitational 2026.
Not playing, huh? I don't know. You don't know? You know who he is? Yeah. Yeah.
I do believe so.
You'd know because this whole crowd will go H.
Really?
Yeah, he's new. He's from overseas. This is
My producer told me to keep an eye on him, but I haven't seen him.
yeah, because he's like a big deal.
Okay.
That's why my kids here.
We're on the lookout for him.
You'll see him.
Yeah.
You go over.
I think he is.
And Lori?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know, but my producer told us to keep an eye out for him. So maybe he'll make a guest appearance, or maybe he's just hiding.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are excited to see him.
Indio, California. It's the Coachella Valley Invitational 2026. We're at halftime. LAFC against New York City FC. Quality chances on both sides. LAFC, under first-year coach Mark Dos Santos, electing to go with a young group at the start. So the question is, will the massive number of supporters for LAFC here in attendance have a chance to see Son Heung-Min or even Denny Boanga in the second half? That remains to be seen. For New York City FC, they went with what you might think is a regular crew. Aiden O'Neill not in the squad today. And for New York City supporters, the question is, as I've looked on social media, will Tylis Magno enter the game in the second half? All that remains to be seen. We'll take another break and then be back with the second half here at the Coachella Valley Invitational 2026. Both teams back and ready to commence the second half at the Coachella Valley Invitational 2026. LAFC on the right in the darker uniforms, the black, which I'm sure is very comfortable into the mid-80 day. And New York City in their sky blue. Looks like no changes for New York City FC, and we'll take a close look at LAFC as we progress through the half. And Mark Santos has pledged to play the youngsters throughout a majority of this, and that's certainly been the case. Tyler Boyd, we do know, number 19, facing the camera here. That's, or he's just out of range right now as Maxi Morales prepares to kick off for New York City FC. The idea here in game one of the Coachella Valley for New York City and the other teams is to start to really build the fitness for opening day. And we're underway second half, no score. And Raul Gustavo will start with something direct. And Smorliakov, a starter, he's the one that hit that first time on the volley. And there's Tyler Boyd. Parks with the ball square to Wolf. Finds Cavallo. O'Toole in the midfield. So New York City with Freeze. At the back, it's Cavallo, Gustavo, Martins the captain, and Tavon Gray. Hernandez, Murkow. He gets it to Ojeda. The cutback, the shot, it's deflected. It'll be a corner ball for New York City. No, not touched by anyone. Hannes Wolf just unable to get it on frame. Wolf playing on the left, Ojeda on the right with a midfield of Keaton Parks and Kevin O'Toole. Maxi Morales running the show at the number 10, and then Nico Fernandez Murkow. He's the striker. New York City, I can tell you without reservation, still in the market for a number 9 after the Musa Sila deal fell through. But they have signed a player to replace Justin Hack, or at least has some of the same profile as Hack, and that's Kai Truen, who is in Indio, California. He's observing the game from the bleacher section. Aid O'Neill, his Australian national team mate, said he's here but knackered, but there's a decent chance we will see him at some point here at Coachella. And a near own goal, Gustavo with the right foot. He's a left footer, not as comfortable with the right. And he nearly put that behind Matt Freeze. It will be a corner kick for LAFC. Getting another look here. And let's see how Gustavo plays it. And you can see just not as comfortable there. And now off the corner, LAFC will get a resulting throw-in. Smoliakov, Ukraine national. Played in the Ukraine Premier League before arriving at LAFC in 2025. Good ball through. Running onto it, Ianero, the 17-year-old striker, still in the game. Curling shot by Boyd. And on one hop, Matt Freeze able to gobble it up. That was Sebastian Nava. He's the number 40. He started the game, really didn't get on the ball very often, and you might think the message from Mark Dos Santos is to have him, the number 10, be more involved in the play, and he's done that early on. Now just 3.5 minutes in. Match day 2, the Coachella Valley Invitational. First game for either of these two sides. It'll be the only match played by LAFC here. They choose to come, train, play the one friendly, similar to last year, and then head back home where they'll prepare for the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Part of that preparation will be a Tuesday scrimmage against Tijuana Cholos. So it's good news for New York City that Kai Truin is here and ready to play. That means the paperwork has been completed. Pascal Janssen had hoped that he'd be available at Coachella, and it appears that he will be. Down in the area, and goal kick. The Argentinian trying to draw the foul and pops back up, doesn't dispute the non-call. Here comes LAFC. We'll watch the clock closely in terms of a more regular group coming in for the last 20, 25, 30 minutes of this match. And will it include Son? Will it include Boanga? One would imagine that Thomas Hassal will just remain in goal. Hubert Lloris will get the call Tuesday against Tijuana. Guerra chasing it down, hassled by Cavallo. Goes down, no call. New York City with a recovery, Maxi Morales. Back post, it's Fernandez Mercado. He'll chest it down, wise move, cuts it to his right. Still whirling, can he get the shot off? Yes, and New York City takes the 1-0 lead. Nico Fernandez Mercado, exceptional control. And then the awareness to get it to his favored left. Now he cut it to the right. It looked like he might shoot it, and that's when he made the adjustment. Low, firm past Hassal. And in the meantime, Pascal Janssen calls Raul Gustavo over to the touchline and is having a somewhat animated conversation with a young man he knows well. Gustavo played for Pascal Janssen at Ferencváros in Hungary. That was Pascal Janssen's previous job before joining the New York City Football Club last December. Well, December of 24 into the 25 season. Parks with a little too much of the Nava shirt. Parks now collapsing for the double, but Ayanero is able to hold on to the ball long enough to keep possession, but working hard, Hannes Wolf. No one will ever question the work rate of Hannes Wolf. His consistency in the goal-scoring area, at times suspect. He had 11 goals last year along with 7 assists. This is Ojeda getting it from Fernandez Mercado. 1v1 and defended nicely by Della Valle, the 21-year-old who started at LAFC 2 and now has been with the first team since 24. However, he has no regular season appearances. Wolf had 4, count them, 4 braces in 2025. So 8 of his 11 goals were scored in 4 matches. And there were periods of time where there were lengthy droughts in the goal contribution department. Fernandez Mercado. High into the air, Gustavo, and didn't time it well, or maybe just a little bit too high for the 6'3" central defender from Brazil. That's another nice thing of the pairing. Communication so vital on the defensive side. Well, you've got 2 Brazilians playing together, Martins and Gustavo, so there's, at the very least, no lack of understanding the language and communication thereof. I remember Kevin O'Toole at left back when Gustavo first arrived and was playing left central back, and said at times it was he wasn't quite sure what Gustavo was asking. Parks. Limited touches in the midfield from Parks, and that's what he can do. He So a wonderful final pass in the first half that just missed its connection as Parks works his way back into full fitness. Was not involved in contact in day one of preseason, but worked his way to that point. And yes, the word that I have in terms of the other two idle players, or the two idle players, Andres Perea and Malachi Jones, is that Perea is ahead of Jones in terms of the recovery process and the possibility of playing. Aiden O'Neill, meanwhile, who's not in uniform today, told me he's fine. He would expect, if the coach will permit it, to play in Saturday's Coachella Valley Invitational finale on Saturday. Perhaps he will accompany his countrymate, who perhaps will make his debut at some point here, Kai Truen. And although final rosters have not been submitted, it would be really surprising if both Aiden O'Neill and Kai Truen were not on the final roster for Australia as they compete in the World Cup. They've qualified. O'Neill playing a massive role in the qualification process along with Truen. Kevin O'Toole and Keaton Parks in the midfield today for New York City. Seymour Reed, I could see him warming up in the distance and now jogging back towards the bench. So he'll come in at striker, and we'll see what adjustments might be made. That might be a chance for Fernandez Murkow to fall back into the number 10. And then the departure of Maxi Morales. That's what we might expect, but we'll see how Pascal Janssen wants to play it. Meanwhile, a host of LAFC players are warming up. So there could be a massive group of substitutes coming up shortly. New York City 1, LAFC 0. Nico Fernandez Murkow with the lone goal of this match. Earlier today in the field behind us, we're on field 2, field 1 here at Coachella Valley. Right behind us. When I tell friends I'm coming to Coachella, they certainly often confuse it with the music festival, which comes up in April. Sabrina Carpenter. Iggy Pop is going to be here. Turnstile, one of my son's favorites. Who else did I see? Justin Bieber. No offense, but I wouldn't be excited about that if I were here. But the festival takes place right in this vicinity where the fields are and where the Invitational for MLS takes place. And then NWSL, there will be teams coming in right after this is over. They'll play games on February 15th and 16th. Martins. O'Toole showing in the midfield. Nice to receive it on the half turn, and then that enables him to get it to Wolf and Seymour Reed, who has entered the game. And indeed, it was Morales out and Fernandez Murkow dropping in to the number 10 role. Well, check that. Morales is out here to the right. So it's Keaton Parks that was taken out, and certainly there that's makes sense as well to roll Parks back into the competitive situation with ease coming off the major surgery, his third such surgery. Gray with the throw. Toole trying to combine with Maxey. Maxey, instead of giving it back to O'Toole, who had a defender draped, makes the wise decision to find Martins. And the goal scorer, Fernandez Mercado, gets it to Gustavo. And New York City will reload this attack. Ojeda getting his heels to the near touchline, and that allows that gap for Tavon Gray to run into. But Della Valle, he had the wheels to win the first ball, but then it's deflected out, and Ojeda, Gray, Morales. Seymour Reed, 17 years old. He'll turn 18 on March the 7th. And that's Ojeda who misses the target. Hassal, he got a piece on it, but that was going over the bar anyway, I think. Gray, give Gray credit. That's where he's become very dangerous over the last couple of seasons for New York City. His ability to get to the byline, you'll see it here. Nice little underlap. Nice cutback, and Hassal didn't want to take any chances, so it's another New York City corner. Fernandez Mercado, he's got Morales there, and the event he wants to play it short, but he'll drill it mid-6. And wonderful by Della Valle to win that header and redirect it out the other side and away from any sort of precarious situation. And there's Tyler Boyd, and Gustavo helps him up after knocking him down. Seymour Reed, youngest to score a goal in New York City history in a 3-1 win over Chicago. He was the youngest to play in a match for New York City, and that was on March 22nd against Columbus. And in the absence of any other true number 9 on the roster, he'll get a chance. Nice little scan over the shoulder by Maxey to see what might happen if he were to turn. And there certainly was a gap between the defenders, but Seymour Reed, maybe the timing just a bit off there, but also give credit to Sebastian Nava on the ball now. He's the one that anticipated and went back and won it. 1-0 New York City. We're over an hour into this one and awaiting the Marc Dos Santos decision as to who might be placed into this match from what you might term the regular crew. Nava. Reed's offside. We all had a good look at that one. So the timing of the runs right now for Seymour Reed off the service of either Maxi Morales or Fernandez Mercado. And talked about Maxi. He'll be turning 39 on February 27th. Fitness has not been an issue for Maxi. Played in all 39 and started all 39 MLS matches last year. Freeze smartly lets it ride, and New York City will have the throw. Freeze knew that there was no danger around. That was lofted too high from the left by Tyler Boyd. No, Smoilikov. The 22-year-old Ukrainian. Maxi, the oldest player to start a playoff game. Those 39 games, both the regular season and the playoffs. He surpassed Pirlo and Lampard. They were all 38 years old, but Maxi a few more days added to that. a host of photographers to our left and to the right of Matt Freese behind the goal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Well, we're close to LA. Boyd lets it run for Smodlyakov. Martins cuts in front on the near post to clear. Last season at Coachella, Martins was not available. In fact, he was not available in the first 2 matches of the season. And Strahinja Tanasiewicz, he started the opening 2 matches for New York City. One against Miami and LAFC. Nice turn. And there's Matt Evans right in the midst of it again. He hit one from distance, a knuckler that Matt Freese had to save. That's the best chance of the game for LAFC, and was on the doorstep for this one and just couldn't get his feet untangled to the point where he could release the shot. Evans is a homegrown, and he has shown well in this scrimmage. And here we go. There are going to be a lot of substitutes, and this is where we'll see. I see Mark Delgado. We'll do our best to run through each of them. Tim Tillman is coming on. So we'll have it for you along the way. Looking to see if Son is one of the players. Do not see him out there, but Denny Bawanga is. So Bawanga's out, and now LAFC, they're just down a goal. So now New York City, still with many of their regulars. Only one move so far. That was Seymour Reed coming in for Keaton Parks. So here's Gray on the throw. Delgado marking up on Maxi Morales. So you've got the more effective players, you would have to say, for LAFC, and they're fresh against New York City. Still early on. Here's Bawanga against Gray. This is a good matchup. Gray, one of the best defenders in MLS one-on-one. Bawanga, 2 scissors, curler, and high into the air. Gustavo couldn't clear it, but Nico Cavallo in good position. And it's Palencia who's on the back post to keep it alive for LAFC. And that one was overhit out of the midfield. And New York City will have the goal kick in the 68th minute at the Coachella Valley Invitational 2026. Eddie Segura on in the back for LAFC, as is Nkosi Tafari, along with Ryan Porteous. Mentioned Delgado in the midfield, Tim Tillman in the midfield, and David Martinez, who's an electric young player on the right side, wearing the number 30. He's bleached his hair, so he'll be easy to identify. Tyler Boyd moves into central striker with Bawanga here on the left. So no Son. And I'm sure that's the way it'll be today. Accelerating Gustavo. He's trying to find Seymour Reed. And right in the path, though, is an interception for LAFC. and an acceleration from Mark Delgado. Wants to combine with Boang. It's 2 versus 3, now 2 versus 4 here on the left side. And Boang is able to get the curling delivery. And Boyd can't get a piece of it, and it skips into the hands of Freeze. Matty Freeze, the regular for New York City FC for the 3rd year. Martinez. Tafari came over from FC Dallas. Boanga. Tavon Gray. This is he cherishes these matchups. Give him the opponent's best attacking player, and he eats it up. He doesn't win 100% of the time, but he never backs down from those confrontations. You saw it there. He's playing against Boanga. Boanga in 52 games for LAFC, 101 goals. He's the only player in MLS history to score 20-plus in 3 consecutive seasons. His best year, 2025, 24 goals. And you consider what he and Son did together at the tail end of the season. It gives LAFC great hope as they move into the 2026 season. Boyd splits the defenders, overhits though, and Freeze, who showed off on social media recently. He didn't know the camera was on him, I'm sure, but it was during training, and he was under pressure in a small-sided game, and he pulled a Cruyff, 1v1 Cruyff, to get it away from whoever was putting pressure on him, and then got the ball out the other way. And it just gives you an idea of how the feet and the comfort level for Matt Freeze has improved since he's arrived at New York City. Segura, Boanga, and Porteous. David Martinez, he's fun 1 versus 1. Waiting for him to face somebody up and see what he could do. Mark Delgado. He's the one that just changed the point in that midfield role. He's cherishes his ability to see what's happening ahead of the time. He's a very aware player. A lot of it has to do with scanning, but just a feel for the game. He's always in the right spot at the right time. And if he is underappreciated for anything, and this was something he admitted to last night when we spoke, it's his final pass. He told Marcos dos Santos, I want more opportunities to make the final pass. So he's positioning himself in ways where maybe the goal contributions will increase. With the LA Galaxy, he won an MLS Cup. In 2024, before he arrived last season, cross town with LAFC. Spending most of his professional career, we're talking about Mark Delgado still, and here's Tillman on the ball. And that'll be a goal kick. So, timing issues, no question, between Tillman and Boanga. Delgado, he was part of that treble in 2017 for Toronto. And he was just talking about some of the players he was surrounded by while he was in Toronto. Michael Bradley, Josie Altidore, Giovinco. But Victor Vasquez, he said he was the greatest influence of any player that he's had the pleasure of taking the field with. And that, in part, is due to his ability to get himself in the right spots, just move a little bit right, left, drift a little bit. And he said seeing him in training every day and playing side by side with him was a massive influence. Barcelona guy, Vasquez. Tackle from behind, Maxi Morales. Early delivery from Tavon Gray. Seymour Reed is in. And Hassal had to come out of the area to deflect it away. Didn't get good purchase, but still recovered by LAFC. And now Hassal will have a little bit more time, and his entrance is intercepted by Fernandez Mercal. Maxi Morales goes down trying to draw the foul, does not. The referee doesn't buy it. Here's O'Toole. New York City back with it, and the 1-0 lead. Quarter of an hour left to play, a little bit over that. On field 2 at the Coachella Valley Invitational, New York City against LAFC. I'm Glenn Crooks. Great to be here with you. I'll have the New York City Sporting KC game on Wednesday at 1:30 Pacific. And then New York City, San Jose on February 14th. Also Charlotte and Minnesota on that February 14th. Many other games as well. Great colleagues here. I saw all the charts being formed yesterday in the media area. Preseason is sometimes difficult because players who don't often play, maybe not much bio information, so additional studying, research. Certainly that was the case today with that starting group for LAFC. Other than Hollingshead, all 23 years of age or younger, including 3 teens that were on the field at the start of the match. It's Alan Chapman in the middle, by the way. I didn't recognize that at first. So Alan Chapman, and now it's a hydration break called by Alan Chapman. So the referees, they need a preseason as well. And Chapman, a former 2-time MLS Referee of the Year, and I don't think there's been one player who's objected to a call today by Alan Chapman. I am going to also take my hydration break. Hold on. We're in a perfect position to call the game. Now, here at the Coachella Valley Invitational, this is not a stadium situation per se. No press box, so we're out in the open. It rarely rains, so that is not often an issue. And there are accommodations if we did need to go indoors, but it's time now to just get another swig of the old H2O while we consider that the temperatures are supposed to drop, not considerably, but for the next games on the 11th, temps expected in the mid-70s, and the players will certainly welcome that. So we're not going to see Son Heung-Min, which is regrettable. The South Korean. So he came to LAFC from Spurs last year. He played 10 regular games, had 9 goals and 3 assists. And by the way, for Spurs, 333 games, 127 goals. South Korea, 54 goals in 140 appearances. But the moment of note last year was against Vancouver in the Western Conference semifinals, a 1-game elimination match. And Vancouver was up 2-0 at their home BC Place, over 52,000, an unbelievable atmosphere in Vancouver. Ironically, it might not be the home of the franchise in the future. That one you'll have to look up to understand why. But Son, down 2-0, scored 2, including a free kick equalizer in the 5th minute of stoppage time, sending it into extra time. No score there. Vancouver then wins the shootout 4-3. The unfortunate part for Son is that he hit the post with his penalty. And Vancouver wins 4-3 in penalties as play has resumed after the hydration break here. But talked to Mark Dos Santos last night about Son, and I think it's been clearly stated his personality, what a bright figure he is, a positive life force, and is beloved by his teammates. But Mark Dos Santos, as this looped in nicely by Delgado, Boanga's able to catch up to it, and Tillman can't quite reach it as Strahinja Tanasiewicz has come in for New York City FC, and he's the one that cut Tillman off in front of Matt Freese. But the thing Dos Santos noted about Son from a soccer standpoint is this: in training, exercises. And we're talking about exercises without resistance, maybe a pattern with mannequins or just running through a passing exercise. He says his attention to detail and doing everything at game speed is what's impressive, which gives you an idea of his level. But what it also does, it rises the level of his teammates in those training environments. And when you have a global figure like that, who doesn't mind putting in the work and can score goals to boot, you've got yourself something special. So he's been everything and more, I think is, I'm paraphrasing, but that's the message from Mark Dos Santos, who got the job when Steve Cherundolo, last April, Cherundolo made the announcement that 2025 would be his final year. That was Thiago Martins drilling the ball wide left for Ojeda. Ojeda on the chase. The speedy one now to the supporting Fernandez Mercado. They'll work a 1-2. That's cut off nicely by Porteous. And LAFC down a goal, and about 9 minutes left to see if they can less any stoppage time. Let's see if they get the equalizer. So Cherundolo made that announcement. It's Tanasiewicz and David Martinez. Tanasiewicz winning that battle. He's been valuable for the most part, coming in late for New York City. Sometimes Pascal Janssen has elected to go to 5 at the back or make some sort of an adjustment where he's looking for a defensive presence or a guy who's very good in the air, and that's Tanasiewicz. He fits the bill. At times, though, his defensive aggressiveness gets the best of him. He's a bit of a yellow card machine, and the fear of the red card sometimes rears its ugly head with Tanasiewicz, who gives everything to the game. Recent homegrown Cooper Flax into the game out of Wake Forest University. Maximo Carrizo is in for New York City. Flax is in the midfield with Kevin O'Toole. Carrizo position here on the right. Gray giving chase against Boanga again. And another poke tackle by Gray. Can't keep it in this time, but prevents Boanga from getting in behind. Tafari on the ball. So I mentioned Cherundolo earlier. So after winning an MLS Cup and then getting to a final, beating Philadelphia, the Gareth Bale days, and then losing to Columbus, Wilfred Nancy and Columbus winning MLS Cup in 2023, beating LAFC in the final. But Cherundolo back in Germany with his family, where he spent a majority of his professional career. Nicely done, the cushion header by Gray back to Freeze. Mark Dos Santos, he seemed to be the likely replacement, but the club took some time, and it wasn't until December the 15th when Dos Santos was officially named. Dos Santos, he ran a majority of the training sessions and created a lot of the tactical formations for LAFC. So certainly the players know him well, respect his style, and the one thing he said he'd like to do is have a bit more possession, so they might be able to counter press more effectively, win the ball closer to the opponent's goal, rather than relying on what has been so valuable and so dangerous for LAFC, and that's the counterattack, with Bawanga in particular, and then Son, who can also raise some havoc on the counter. So the goal for Dos Santos is the blend. Be able to do both well. Keep it, create, break teams down in the final third if they're in a low block, but also maybe sit back in those moments where you know you might be able to take advantage with a quick counter in behind. Today, not a true test with the regulars only playing a partial minute load. Cooper Flax. Fernandez Murkow, who scored the goal, the only goal in this match, has it taken away, and the direct drive forward, and Matt Freese will have little issue with that. Cooper Flax, so he played at Wake Forest. He had gone to preseason with New York City as an academy player in 2020 and 21, but then went back to school at Wake Forest, and once he completed his service there, is now back with a football club and named a homegrown. Signed a contract through this season with a club option in 27. So these moments are certainly huge for him. Four minutes remaining, plus stoppage time. Mark Delgado. Inter Miami. LAFC will open with Inter Miami, MLS regular season. Delgado has met Miami 3 times with Lionel Messi, all with the Galaxy, and lost in a CONCACAF Champions Cup series, and then had a 1-1 draw in the regular year. You'll hear it eventually on Sirius XMFC, MLS Preview, or the Coaching Academy, but Delgado is not one who really favors the circus of Inter Miami, and is very much looking forward to that one and settling any score that might need to be settled. Tanasiewicz gets the foot on it. Martinez battling with Fernandez Murkow. Martinez wins it. That's Bawanga! 1-1! Well, there's the ability of the guy. 24 goals a season ago. 20 goals plus in 3 consecutive years for LAFC. Lifts it with the right. Strikes it on the volley with the left. Sizzling it past Matt Freese. Well, that's one you want to look at again. There is skill and precision all in one. Denny Bawanga. The Gabon international. Started at Saint Etienne, or at least that's where he came from before his time at LAFC. Had 26 goals in 98 career matches. He has scored goals at a much more frequent rate with LAFC. Mentioned coming in the regular year, 101 goals in 152 games. And he was the first in MLS history to score 20 plus in 3 straight seasons. BWP, Bradley Wright Phillips, had 20 plus in 3 years, but it wasn't consecutively. And Bawanga, with a fantastic finish, has equalized here late for LAFC. Boanga can't catch this one. Chasing was Thiago Martins, the captain. And now there is a rush to the fence beneath us. Not sure if you can catch it. I think you can see in the lower part of your field. When that's happened in the past, that means someone is coming over for autographs. And here's LAFC trying to get the game winner. This must be the traditional loop for autographs. And this time it's Tyler Boyd in behind. That was onside. Delicate ball, and Boyd unable to get it on goal. So LAFC started with the exception of Hollingshead and maybe Ordaz, a completely reserved squad as they are preparing for Tijuana in a friendly on Tuesday, and then the CONCACAF Champions Cup leading into the MLS opener against Miami. So it's complete periodization, not tactical periodization, which is something that Mark Dos Santos is noted for. It's such a great story. Dos Santos with a backpack and no money as a young man went to Portugal to meet with Vitor Frade. And he was the king of tactical periodization. You're going to have to hear about it on the Coaching Academy coming up Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Channel 57, Sirius XM, if you're a subscriber. Here, that's the final whistle from Alan Chapman. And the final score, late strike by Denny Boanga. And the New York City DP, Nico Fernandez Murkow, he opened the scoring in the first half. And that's the way they'll settle it here. 1-1 on match day 2 at the Coachella Valley Invitational 2026. For our production crew, I'm Glenn Crooks. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a good rest of the day. And you're going to watch it, enjoy the Super Bowl, everybody. Have a good day.